Losing a customer is hard. Losing an employee is even harder. Because what it means is they made a choice. They chose the other guy. They chose the other lab. They chose the other boss. And in the realm of growth and success, rejection is an inevitable companion along the way. Whether it's a creative endeavor, whether it's a product launch that failed or a personal connection that chose to walk away. Facing rejection can trigger a cascade of emotions. And you know them well. Self-doubt, anger, fear, and even depression. Yet, on the flip side, for some, the experience and emotion of rejection is not always negative. It is when it happens. But many of the world's most successful entrepreneurs have used the instrument of that emotion to catapult them into greatness. One of the most famous examples is Steve Jobs, whom, after being fired from Apple in 1985, the company that he founded, he set out to prove everybody wrong with vengeance. And for those that don't know, he started a software company called Next in an animation studio called Pixar. And this wasn't just about proving them wrong, but it was about proving himself right. And what happens? In 97, he ends up selling Next to Apple, and he is again appointed CEO of the company that he founded. And as a result, what does he do? He builds the most valuable company. And in his 2005 Stanford University commencement speech, he says this.
My second story is about love and loss. I was lucky. I found what I loved to do early in life. Woz and I started Apple in my parents' garage when I was 20. We worked hard, and in 10 years, Apple had grown from just the two of us in a garage into a $2 billion company with over 4,000 employees. We just released our finest creation, the Macintosh, a year earlier, and I just turned 30. And then I got fired. How can you get fired from a company you started? Well, as Apple grew, we hired someone who I thought was very talented to run the company with me. And for the first year or so, things went well. But then our visions of the future began to diverge, and eventually we had a falling out. When we did, our board of directors sided with him. And so at 30, I was out, and very publicly out. What had been the focus of my entire adult life was gone, and it was devastating. I really didn't know what to do for a few months. I felt that I had let the previous generation of entrepreneurs down, that I had dropped the baton as it was being passed to me. I met with David Packard and Bob Noyce and tried to apologize for screwing up so badly. I was a very public failure, and I even thought about running away from the valley. But something slowly began to dawn on me. I still loved what I did. The turn of events at Apple had not changed that one bit. I'd been rejected, but I was still in love. And so I decided to start over. I didn't see it then, but it turned out that getting fired from Apple was the best thing that could have ever happened to me. The heaviness of being successful was replaced by the lightness of being a beginner again, less sure about everything. It freed me to enter one of the most creative periods of my life. During the next 5 years, I started a company named Next, another company named Pixar, and fell in love with an amazing woman who would become my wife. Pixar went on to create the world's first computer animated feature film, Toy Story, and is now the most successful animation studio in the world. In a remarkable turn of events, Apple bought Next, and I returned to Apple, and the technology we developed at Next is at the heart of Apple's current renaissance. And Lorene and I have a wonderful family together. I'm pretty sure none of this would have happened if I hadn't been fired from Apple. It was awful tasting medicine, but I guess the patient needed it. Sometimes life's going to hit you in the head with a brick. Don't lose faith.
And for those that choose the right path after rejection, it provides a profound opportunity for personal growth. And today on the podcast, we're going to dive into this experience, this concept of rejection, and explore the 4 paths that you and I can choose to take when confronted with this powerful emotion. My name is Sasha, and this is Entrepreneur Insight. When rejection happens, it serves as a mirror that reflects our innermost insecurities and vulnerabilities. And I don't know who needs to hear this, but when we get rejected, the truth with regards to what we believe about ourselves, our self-belief, is exposed. And for many entrepreneurs, when we get rejected, self-doubt and fear beckons us. It is a tempting proposition to internalize rejection as though we are the failure. But here's the thing, as the leader of your business, of your dental lab, we still have to make decisions that have nothing to do with our rejection. And so to move past our rejection and into identity growth, one of the most constructive paths to take is that of self-reflection. Now, I didn't say self-destruction. I said self-reflection. And this path involves looking inward and questioning from a growth mindset the underlying causes of our feelings and reactions. What triggers, what beliefs or past experiences are contributing to our downtrodden emotions, right? We have to understand this, that self-reflection helps grow our EQ, our emotional intelligence, our self-awareness by gaining insight into why we feel the way that we feel. And by doing so, we can identify areas of improvement, personal growth, and emotional capacity. Now, that's one path. The second path after rejection is the exercise of the resilience skill set. Resilience is a skill. And resilience is the ability to look adversity in the face and know that you're going to be okay. It's huge. It is an essential skill for the successful entrepreneur. It's the ability to acknowledge that we're in pain, to acknowledge that we're fearful, to acknowledge that we're insecure, to acknowledge these things. Because it transforms our relationship with those feelings. It allows us to realize that setbacks are an inherent part of business life and growth. Rather than succumbing to total despair, the path of resilience will lead us to view the rejection as a challenge to overcome. As the leader of yourself first, and then others, this is how we grow in courage. Courage to challenge our self-limiting beliefs and embrace the idea that rejection does not define you. And that whatever has happened is not an indicament of your worth. We're talking about a shift in perspective, a shift in processing emotions in a forward-thinking way as you learn, as you adapt, and as you mine out these valuable lessons that rejection offers us. The emotional strength and confidence that comes out of that is what made Steve Jobs who he is. The third path after rejection is the path of redirection. When we get rejected, one of the healthiest things that we can do is explore the path of reevaluation and redirection. As the saying goes, when one door closes, another door opens. By default, rejection is a pivot point, an opportunity to glean insights and redefine strategies. And it is in this moment where we learn to adapt. We learn about adaptation, flexibility, all of which we need as entrepreneurs. We acquire the flexibility that we need to become our future better self. And finally, the fourth and all-powerful path, and that is the path of transformation. The path of transformation involves the most profound shift in the face of rejection. This path revolves around us using rejection as a catalyst for profound maturity. Transformation needs the rejection of the past to be the teacher in the present and in the future. And there is nothing more powerful than a transformed life. Someone who has adopted a different way of thinking behaves differently. More mature thinking results in more mature behavior. And we need to constantly grow in maturity to lead. And this very much includes how we view ourselves in the face of rejection. Transformation involves a willingness to break free from old patterns and beliefs that no longer serve us, ways of thinking that don't align with our vision. Transformation requires embracing discomfort, depression, fear, uncertainty, while at the same time, this is really important, applying context, self-discovery, and reinvention. As a leader, we have to recognize that the journey towards meaningful change is not a solitary one. Rejection is an inseparable part of this journey, a litmus test, if you will, of your resilience and your commitment to faith, to God, to yourself, to your family, to your employees, and to the customers that you serve. If there is anything you get from this episode, let it be this. Rejection is not the final word in your entrepreneurial journey, but a comma. Your response to it defines the trajectory of your journey. With each rejection, you stand at a crossroads, a choice between going backwards in self-doubt or going forward in self-discovery. Rejection in the 4 paths: reflection, resilience, redirection, and transformation. By embracing these paths, you will not only navigate the emotional turmoil that comes with rejection, but you will also emerge stronger, more self-aware, and better equipped to handle the opportunities of growth that are in front of you. Ultimately, rejection is not an end, but a stepping stone towards personal transformation and the realization of your truest and fullest potential. God bless you, and hope to see you next time. Bye for now.